baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause
Black versus the Board of Education.
Cause we can't get rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here. Cause we can't get rid of us now. And you know, and we know, and we go. Cause we been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Bam, 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 bam. It's another Monday, so you know what it is. It's Black versus the Board of Education, coming to you live and direct from Facebook and YouTube. And as usual, my name is Miss Laureen, and I will be the captain of the ship. And I always got to let you know my crew who's in the building. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, where's Melissa? You didn't pull her up yet. Teva's not on his P's and Q's. So we'll go ahead and start with Miss Keela, because you on the camera right next to me. Go ahead and introduce yourself, love.
Hey, it's your girl Keela. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday.
That's all
we
you
had a
got?
rough start, but we gonna finish the week already strong because I'm already feeling rough.
And we're not going to even talk about it. Well, actually, we might, because we do have some insurance agents in the building.
Okay, so let me talk to y'all after this podcast.
We got you. We got it.
What's up,
you.
eh?
Hey,
Well, I mean, that's what his jersey said.
Yeah, I should have changed it.
You should have.
big A, never the little one.
Big A.
Wanted to do Ace.
Oh, you wanted to do Ace?
Yeah.
Like Chicken Little.
Introduce
mind.
yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Adrian. Feel good today. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday
Sorry,
indeed.
Adrian.
What's up, Anaya?
Hey everyone, my name is Anaya, and I'm going to my sophomore year at Howard University.
Welcome back. Because I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, and I probably saw you last week. Yeah, been a long week. Hey, Cornessa.
Hi, I'm Cornessa, and I'm a youth advocate here, and I'm excited to have a conversation about life insurance.
Life insurance, indeed, because we gotta tighten some stuff up. We gotta tighten it up, and I'm gonna listen myself because I was waiting for the fellas to do it, and it didn't happen. So, hey girl, this is our 2024 graduate of high school. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my love.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa, and I am a recent high school graduate and incoming freshman at UC Berkeley. And I'm very excited to be here.
I love it. We got some smart folks in the building, so that means y'all already taking care of your life insurance, no? Or car insurance, other insurance. I don't know all the different types, but we have some experts in the building, and we're going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves and let us know who they are. So I will start with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Flowers, and I have a financial practice with New York Life. Actually, right down the street from y'all.
It ain't even down the street; it's in the next building over.
Literally, we walked over in the heat. So
In the heat.
in
In the
heat
suit.
and suit,
In
so it
suit.
wasn't that bad.
I mean, y'all looking spiffy, if I
Thank
might
you.
say so myself.
It's just a normal Monday for us. That's how we
Well,
come with.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, thank you.
Right next to you is
Kenneth Wilburn, a proud veteran of the United States Navy, and I also have my financial practice with New York Life as well.
financial practice. So y'all got to break that down for us, because I don't know what you're talking about. So when you say a financial practice, is that a side job? Is that, independent contractor? What we talking about?
No, for me, I burn the boats. This is what I do every day, all day.
I've never heard burn the boats, but okay.
When you start something,
Uh-huh.
you can't have something to fall back on, or you won't put your all into it. So you got to burn the boats.
Ah,
There's no way of going back. This is what we do.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I always get excited when I see brothers in the building.
Mhm.
I always get excited, and you guys have a whole unit over there of Black folks. Do you want to give them a shout out real quick? Because I know they're not here, but I wish I had the picture up. I should have sent it to Tevin, but y'all got a bunch of Black folks over in the building next door.
We do. We're part of the African American market unit with New York Life. Shout out to Jonil Ellison, Malik, Kobe Bell, Tresla Gilbreth, Michelle. Who else am I missing?
He gonna say,
Me, you,
Of course, yeah.
right?
Us.
Us. Shout out to us. Thank you guys for having us here today. And to go back a little bit to answer what a financial practice is, that means we do everything financially on the full spectrum, right? So we're not just life insurance agents. Whatever anybody needs financially, whatever kind of help or education or anything like that, we're here to provide it. So we're just more than financial life insurance agents. We
Mhm.
can do anything across the spectrum, be able to help, any our clients out, should I say?
Yeah, and if it's by the chance that we don't do it, we have the resources to put
Yeah.
you in contact with the right people.
I love that word resources. Resources are really good. I like that. And we have a bunch of young adults around here, so I don't know if life insurance or other insurance or financial management or whatever has even crossed y'all's mind. Is that something that you guys are thinking about right now, or something you want to know more about since we have these resources next door in the building over? Anybody
Yeah,
can
go
answer.
ahead.
Don't just look at me. I mean, it's a podcast. Y'all talk to me.
Mhm. Definitely like know the idea of life insurance, but I've never thought about it for myself, so I'm interested to learn more. for
Okay.
sure.
What about you, Quinessa? I see you wanted to pipe in.
I do have a life insurance policy, but
Go ahead.
my grandparents set it up for me, so I don't know
Uh-huh.
a lot of like the benefits of having life insurance. I just know it's something that I do have. But I'm intrigued to learn more. And I saw on your website that you guys do like wealth management information, and that's something I'd definitely be interested in.
Okay. Melissa, have you thought about life insurance, or do you have life insurance, or financial? Have you thought about your financial outlook as I mean, I don't know if this is what y'all are thinking about, because I definitely wasn't thinking about it at 17, 18 years
Mhm.
old. So Melissa, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Have you thought about it? Come off mute, baby. Okay, while we waiting for her to figure out the unmuting thing, because I can't unmute you. What about you, Keela? Have you?
I feel like I have. So I had an older brother. He passed away, but he didn't have life insurance. So I think after that should have been my sign to do that, but I just haven't looked into it. So yeah, I'd definitely like to know more information.
Okay. And I do know that Father's Day is coming up next week. And so, actually, on Sunday, I shouldn't say next week, on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so, Jonelle has some questions he wanted us to ask you. And so, it appears that Melissa may be frozen right now. So, we'll wait for her to pipe back in. But I will go to you for the first question, sir.
So how was your relationship with your father, and how did that impact you in raising your children?
I mean, first of all, do y'all have children?
I do. I have 2 boys.
Okay, 2 boys. So,
Ooh.
we're going to go to you.
Okay.
Do you have kids?
Not yet, but
He
have
said,
plenty of nephews and nieces. So
Okay.
that question is still
Mhm.
important to me.
Okay, perfect. So, we'll go to you first.
So I'll start off with the relationship with my father showed me what not to do as a father. I didn't have a relationship with him. Probably the last time I saw him was about 5 or 6. He tried to come back in my life when I was 16. I'm 42 right now. He passed away when I was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s. So I never really had a relationship with him, but I was blessed to have an uncle, particularly in my life. I had multiple uncles, but one uncle in particular that took that mantelpiece and helped shape me into the man I am today. So I never had that feeling of wanting or wondering where he was or anything. I always felt like I had a father figure. So I was definitely blessed in that aspect. And I know a lot of young Black males don't have that, just young males in general. So I am thankful that I had that. And it definitely shaped me on what not to do as a father is, just being there,
Yeah.
being present, being in the moment with my children. Being a father is you literally grow with your children.
Yeah.
So my boys are 13 and 15. So I'm a teenager when it comes to being a father. That's how I look at it because, there's no guide, there's no book that they give you. Literally, when they come out, they hand them to you. Like, here you go.
Go
And
figure
I'm
it
like,
out.
I don't know what I'm doing. My mama left the hospital. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what's going on? But it's been a journey and a blessing to be a father and seeing them grow and being able to see the young men that I see the potential in them and where they're going to be is amazing.
Fantastic. And I don't want to just put this on you, because I'm curious to know about you all sitting around the table. So that question also applies to you, and not raising your children, but how did having your father or not having your father impact the type of person that you have become? Okay. I want y'all to be thinking about that while we send it back over here, and then I'm gonna come to you all.
I'll say for me, my biological father I did not grow up with. He was in prison up until I was 21 years old. Met him when I was around 9. Like Jay said, I'm 41 as well. But I had a stepfather came in my life around 12 and who's raised me since. And I would say at the time when I was younger, I thought he was very mean, verbally abusive, just different things that as a grown man I understand now. Like he was just trying to raise me from the world, coming from a single mother. He was trying to give me the best knowledge and wisdom he could at that time. And I look at it now being 41, between him and my mom, there's 9 kids. And so I would say when they got together, I think they were maybe in their late 20s, maybe early 30s. And it's like, what do they only know what they can know? They're trying to raise 9 kids plus do a relationship on their own. We didn't come from a lot of money, so they're trying to make it work. And so now having the hindsight to be like, man, they did the best that they could. I let a lot of things go that I thought the way he should have raised me, because a kid can't tell a parent how to raise you. You think you know the world because you're coming into this. And then when you become adult, you really got hindsight to go, oh, okay, I get it now. And so how that affects me, I would say how I raise my children. One of the things I feel I'm blessed in by not having children yet, I do think the good Lord will bless me with children. And even not, if I'm in position, I said I would adopt children just because I know that it's a benefit and a blessing to create wealth and pass them down to them. But what I will say is that now that I'm older, the one thing I don't want to do is live through my children. And I want whatever they want to do. I don't care what it is they set out to do, the president, the astronaut, whatever it is. As a father, I want to be able to give them the world. And I don't want to tell them no, they can't do or stifle their thinking, and to know that there is no season, no ceiling, they can go to the stars. So I think for me, that's one of the biggest things I've learned is like when you're a parent, your life is for them now. You still are trying to grow and learn and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, now it's your job to teach them. And as Jason said, there's no manual. You do the best you can. You lose all the knowledge that you have. But at the end of the day, your job is to provide them the life, that you didn't have, but the life that they want. And I think when you have children young, sometimes when you're trying to work, you don't have that blessing. So although I do want children, I think it as a blessing that I continue to learn, because the one thing I don't want to do is take out anger or things that I didn't have from my past out on my children, because that's not their fault. They didn't ask to be here. So I think that's how the biggest thing that impacts me is don't just be like, oh, because I told you so. No, explain to them. Don't do this because of this might happen, that might happen. Not just get mad and be like, because I told you to stay in the child place, don't talk to adults. No, raise them in a way to understand how this world works.
And they have to be coachable and teachable too.
Yes, ma'am.
Quinessa.
My dad, he, I like to say he is a great parent, but not exactly a great person. But it's really given me a guideline for what to look for in a partner. Because he was at every cheer game, every play, every choir performance. And that really shaped me and my expectation for the people around me. So, yeah.
Okay. Anaya?
I would have to agree. I would say that my dad, he goes above and beyond for me, like all the time. So like Quinessa said, it shows me what to look for in a future partner, shows me how to love myself more, just shows me what I deserve as a person, what to look for, qualities to look for in my friends. And just going into the parent aspect, just seeing like he would drop anything to do whatever for me. Just hopefully I can be like that when I'm a parent too.
I love it. Adrian.
My dad passed when I was 5, so I didn't grow up with a father. But how I think that impacted me, I think it forced me to grow up quicker and to not like always rely on my mom. So I'd have to learn kind of like manly stuff from social media or like movies and stuff. So I think as a father, I know the importance of like being there and like the feelings that would come up when you don't have. So that's what I'll do.
Melissa.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So I
grew up with a single mom. My parents are divorced. My dad is still there. Like Miss Lorraine, you saw him. He was at graduation, took off work for my graduation. And he's there when it matters. And we've definitely had our ups and downs. But the things that he has done and also the things that he hasn't done have really impacted me and made me realize the kind of person that I want to be when I'm a parent, the kind of person that I look for. I think Anaya said in her friendships too. Like those are all of the qualities that I look for and also try to avoid as well. That has definitely shaped the person that I am and the person that I hope to be one day.
Keela.
I definitely have to agree with the ladies. Yeah, my dad was very present in my life. He was a server for like 20 years. And then so I feel like anything I wanted, I basically got it. I definitely had to earn for it, and definitely he was strict, but I feel like it taught me that like nothing's given to you. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned from him. So yeah.
Mm. As I'm listening to you all, I hear that some of you had present fathers. Mine was not. I believe my dad spent the majority of my life chasing his own dream. And I think that impacted me because I was always looking for something that wasn't there. I was always trying to find, I think, attention, that male attention. I was always trying to negotiate with myself to understand why he wasn't there or why he chose not to be there. And then I realized that excuse me, I got some. I realized that impacted my relationship with my younger brother because he's the one who had him there all the time. But us older kids, we had to kind of figure it out. And my mom was a great mother. But I still think that every girl wants to be a daddy's girl. At least that was my story. So I just think that that's a very interesting question because I think it shaped me. I'm very partial to men. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I love Black men, and I go out of my way to make sure that they're straight. And I do that for the girls too, but I'm very partial to the fellas. I am. So I'll leave that there. Next question, ma'am.
How does having a life insurance policy contribute to a father's legacy and the impact he can have on his kids?
Well, at the end of the day, that's what creating generational wealth is, right? If you look in our community, a lot of fathers didn't pass down anything for their children. So when they had funerals or anything like that, debt, all that passed down to the kids. So now the kids and the children are trying to play catch up. And so if you look at other communities, it's something that they use as a vessel to literally create generational wealth. Simple math, right? If two parents have $1 million home, 2 kids, and they pass away both, unfortunately, that's $500,000 to the kids. Let's say both of them have $1 million policy. You split that in half. You now made your kids instant millionaires just off you passing along. So unfortunately, if your kids are 18, 19, 20 years old, they don't have you in here, but you've now given them $1 million to be able to do whatever they want to do. And so that's like the easiest way I can answer it is you're literally giving them a step ahead. And that's what every community does and how they use it as a tool to be able to, I guess, give their kids a head start. Jason.
Yeah, to Kenneth's point, it's the monetary legacy that we leave behind, right? But it's beyond that. So we started off by asking who has a relationship with finances and life insurance. I feel like it's such a taboo topic within our community where we don't have conversations about it during the dinner table. We don't have it during Thanksgiving. We don't have it during holidays. And a lot of other communities do. And just that.
And let me pause you. Why do you think that is?
That's a really good question. I think it's just a lack of knowledge for our ancestors and our previous families. To Kendall's point, well, let me ask you this: how many car washes have y'all contributed to, or GoFundMe's have y'all contributed to when somebody passes away?
Several.
A lot, yeah.
Several.
And it is normally in our community. just because we don't
But
have.
I'm just trying to figure out why. Why do you think that is?
So lack of knowledge.
That's the only reason you think it is?
Not the only reason, but that's
Okay.
that's the simple question is a simple answer is lack of knowledge. Is we just don't know anything about it.
And I think that it's because we've never really had the money in the first place.
Yes.
And so how do you learn something about something that you've never had access to and you don't understand? You're just surviving. You're in survival mode all the time.
Exactly. 100%. And it's kind of like to the father question that you asked, right? You know, you and I, we didn't have a relationship with our fathers, but a lot of the young people in here did.
Yeah.
So we've improved a little bit and we've taken steps forward. And to Kellen's point, like, you know, there's Black folks in our community that have gained wealth.
Yeah.
And have gained a certain knowledge on what they need to do to provide for their families. But what are they really doing to protect for their family?
Right.
And leave something behind to where when they do pass away, which everybody will, are we keeping that home in the family?
Yeah.
You know, are we losing it? Are we, you know, having to do a GoFundMe and losing out on, you know, having to take care of funeral arrangements while we're grieving our family members and our parents and grandparents and things like that. So,
and I think also death is a really uncomfortable topic.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And nobody wants to think about their mortality. Everybody thinks they're going to live forever, right?
Right.
It makes them queasy to talk about that. Like I don't talk about that. And it's not that I don't know better. It's just that's not one of those topics that you just gonna get me to sit down and really think about. And I understand that we need to.
We need to. And you know, there's a reason why they call it life insurance. It's not just for when you die, it's for when you live.
Yeah.
And that's what we like to teach our community about is how can you leverage life insurance while you're living, while you're here with your family, while you're here with your kids. What can you do to be able to leverage that? So that's the other thing that we teach about when it comes to life insurance. And that's the real legacy part of what we do.
I think that's dope.
And can I add too, though, just to go deeper on your question, it's also, let's just be honest, what the civil rights movement maybe it was the 60s,
64.
70s. So you're talking less than 60 years maybe ago. Well, I'm at probably 70, but at the end of the day, I know our company, right, has been around 178 years.
Yeah.
So how you look at,
but were they doing business in our community, or were they contributing to the problem?
So you see that we couldn't get it. So some of the communities had 100 years head start. Even if you're saying we got 70, you still got 100-year head start. And to be honest, going back to you said, Ms. Lorraine, I've met people, and it's a frustrating part where I've talked to some mothers and or grandmothers, should I say, and they'll be like, well, that's not my responsibility.
Yep.
Right? Like when I'm gone, they got a mama and they daddy, they can handle it. And so not saying that's our whole community, not saying everybody thinks like that. But when you have someone who thinks like that, well, then what are their children going to think? Right. And if we're not just taught the education, but it's literally the history of this country said we couldn't get it, right? Slave owners used to be able to make and monetize off us.
Yeah, they did.
But we can't, or we couldn't, should I say. And so now, like every other thing we're trying to do, we're trying to break that generational curse to be able to say, hey, here's a leg up. We either going to keep, definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. So unless we're going to, or until we change that, we're just going to keep repeating the same cycle.
I got it. Melissa.
My question is, can you, and it sounds like you guys were doing this already a little earlier, but can you share a personal story or experience where life insurance played a crucial role in securing your family's future?
Well, I could say for me, that's why I'm doing it, because literally, I think at the age of 13 or 14, I used to brag that I had literally 9 grandmas, great grandmas alive and living. I think now, either they're all passed on or maybe one. But the house 604 South B Street, if you knew, that's where we're at. Across the street from Stribley Park. We owned it. And this is hindsight. And so my grandmother had it. We also had the lot behind that. But if you go to that in Stockton, California, I'm sorry, from Stockton. If you go down that street,
where is that?
If you go to Stockton right now, that house is not purple. The house on the corner, we do not own it. We lost it because there was no life insurance policy to keep it in the family. So for me, that is my whole mission of learning, like, hold on, all right, we could keep doing this, or someone has to take, and I don't think I'm gonna save the world or anything, but I know I now have life insurance policies on myself. So like you were saying earlier, what is a father's job? So my kids ain't got to worry about it when I have kids and blessed enough to have kids. So that is why I'm educating and trying to tell our community, hey, because I have a personal story, not where it helped Melissa, but where it hurt. Because that's where we spent every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every Easter, every birthday. We knew it was at Grandma's summer house. Like, it wasn't even a thought. We knew where we were going every weekend. You will see 20, 30 cousins across the street outside. We don't have that no more. And we lost that. And to know a simple life insurance policy would have paid off Grandma's land. And now knowing, I know we could have put an ADU in the back, had another house, been having a place for people to go and stay. Everybody stayed at Grandma's house. All my uncles that was on drugs, unfortunately, everybody was at Grandma's house. But when she gone, it was gone. And so knowing that now, like, hold on, you mean a simple $20, $30 policy could have paid off Grandma's house and would have been good? Because she bought that house, and I was born in 82. She had that way before I was born. So I'm gonna go 60s, 70s. Probably didn't pay no more than $150 for it, if that. So that's where I would say why it's so important, because we don't protect what we have. And when that person passes on, like Jason said, we're doing a car wash or going for me.
Yeah, to Kevin's point, I have a similar story. I'm born and raised in Detroit, moved out here about 10 years ago.
What up, though?
What up, though? But yeah, I mean, similar story. My grandmother, we had a home. Her birthday was on Christmas Eve, so we used to have all the family over. It was so many people there. Me and my cousins would have to sit on the steps just because there was no place for us to eat. But that, that was family. She was Big Mama. Everybody came over. But when she passed, it was it was a loss for our family of losing her, but there was also a loss of not having our home anymore, because in a few years later we eventually lost the home. And to Ken's point, if we just had a simple life insurance policy, or that knowledge that that we lacked at the time, we could have saved that home and continued that legacy that my grandmother had started. So that's been my mission, is making sure that I touch as many families in our community and give them that educational piece of what we can do. And it's not that expensive. It's really not. It's just something really simple that we can do to be able to make sure that we don't lose those homes. So that wealth gap that we're closing doesn't keep expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can sit up and we can, talk about the wealth gap, but we're so far behind. And it said by 2053, we will have a net worth of $0. So I don't think we're closing anything.
But I would argue it's not that we're far behind in the money, because they say we're a number. If you put all our money together, we spend $2.3 trillion and we're at GDP.
Right.
So I would say it's not that we're behind, it's how we spend it.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think that if you look at the wealth data, and there's a I can't remember the name of the report, I'll look it up, but I think that they have told us that we are a consumer type of people, because we don't own nothing.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And when you don't own, you have to be a consumer to get the things that you need or want. But the fact of the matter is, there was a big wealth transfer from the boomers to the generation after it. And those boomers had the money, right? We don't have it. We don't have it. Our white counterpart are set up for life. We're over here picking up scraps. And so in order to have the right type of conversation, we have to see the wealth positioning that we're in. I think we have total about 1 or 2% of the whole pie. 2%, we're not catching up. So we need to really look at some of the things that have been happening and the policies that contributed. The Color of Wealth is an amazing book. But we have to start talking about things in real terms. Yes, we need to keep Big Mama's house. That's how some of us establish wealth, right? In a legacy for our families. But if we're not having the right conversation about what went on and how it has kind of perpetuated the situation that we're in right now, we're doing our community a disservice.
So to your point, the home is just one thing that we help protect. It's your assets in general that we need to protect. So we're really good as a people collecting assets, but what are we doing to protect those assets? And those are other conversations that we have with our clients as well. So the home is just one piece of the pie. It's a good piece, but it's just one piece of the pie. So we need to make sure that we're doing things to protect the other assets that we're accumulating and things of that nature. When we sit down with our clients, we do a full financial consultation is nothing that's cookie cutter. We make sure that we find out everything and uncover all the protection that a family needs, depending on what their situation is.
And I would say, just to add to that, to piggyback, I don't disagree with you at all. But this generation, that's why I'm so proud. We kind of talk about the younger generation that they are listening, but they are, and they're doing things that we wouldn't even think was possible. And so once again, if we give them not only just education, but give them the money, they can change that 2053 gap. I think it's that if we don't do anything, our black dollar would be gone. But if we educate them and give them the resources, they're creating businesses long before we did. Look at, my heart's warm. This first podcast I ever did, full transparency, and to see these young people in this room, that's who's doing it. I'm happy. I'm like, wow, look at what they could do. So if I don't give them anything and I just talking to them and just give them knowledge, that's great. But if I said, hey, here's $100,000, what would you do with that? And teach Ace how to do a business plan. And then Ace then go gets a business.
Oh, he done called you Ace. I'm like, who is that?
And then put his friends on.
Yeah.
Now in 2053, he's not broke or impoverished. He's able to start something. Now I think we have to not just talk about it. We have to learn to start being about it, but we have to give them finances to be able to do it.
And to Kenneth's point, so I said earlier that life insurance is for life and not with death. So that's one of the things we help our clients do as well, is build that bank for their family. So they don't have to go to Wells Fargo. They don't have to go to Citibank. And I'm not down any of these institutions, but you can be, and what other communities are doing is using life insurance as a leverage to build something for their family, so they can go into the family, draw from that bank that they've already built and accumulated, so we can give Ace the money to be able to do what he needs to do. We can give the other young ladies here the power of money to be able to go and purchase a home, have money for a down payment, have money for a car, pay for college, all these different planning things that can start not just when they're young adults, but when they're literally infants, and be able to grow that wealth so we can start to inch closer. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like, oh, we're at this 1% and now we close the wage gap in
we're not going to close 5 years, but but there may be one or two people that will come out and they will live a good life, right? But as a group, as the whole group, as the Black community, without an influx of cash, because they raped our people and took all the money from them, but they exploited their labor, without the influx of cash, which is now termed reparations, there will be no closing of any gap because it was set up that way. Right. But I was just looking at this and I just wanted to pull this up really quickly. We have to call a thing. So in the white community, a high school graduate can earn up to their household $118,000. High school graduate. We look at the Black high school graduate, $6,700 or $6,700, right? The household. Like you can't do anything with that, right? But we can inform them now, right? We can show them how to do stuff with money, but that's one person, that's two people, that's not a whole group. And as a community, we are suffering because we don't understand our wealth position, and we out here we get a little bit of money and it goes through our fingers really quickly because we don't own anything.
But you keep saying a key word, community, right? So if just my $100, I'm not gonna do nothing with. But if all of us in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 9. We got $900. We go get another person. We got $1,000. So now we're able to create a hedge fund or some kind of fund where we're investing $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. That's why I said it's not going to change overnight. You're correct. It's not going to change overnight. But now we do that over 20, 30 years. We done build up X. The next generation come. We done started them with that $12,000 over I'll do simple math, so 10 years, because that's $120,000. So in 10 years, we're giving them 120. We're not giving them the $1,000 we started with. We're giving them 120. They flip that. Now 20 years from now, they do, let's say they take that 10x. So they have 1.2 million. They take that 1.2 million, they go 2.4. And so that's why it's going to take a community. We unfortunately, for reasons I get, have lost that community feel. They used to say a village could raise a child. So if I walked down the street and I was Uncle Bad and I was acting bad, The store owner could whip my butt.
Mhm.
My grandma could whip my butt. The big mama down the street could whip my butt. Let somebody touch your kids today. Let somebody touch Jason kids today and see what he do. And I think that's the part of it too, is our community needs to get back to being a community. I understand it's not easy and it's idealistic, but if we get back to everybody bring something to the pot, we can be able then to not close it, but we can make headway, because that is something, to be full transparent. That's something that scares me when I keep hearing that number. By 2053, our dollar's going to be zero. But the question is, what are we in 2024 going to do about it? Because we got and aware of that. So we got 30 years to change it. So are we just not going to change it? Or are we just going to be like, this is what's going to happen? They already gave us the play. So do we work together now to change it? Or do we just be like, oh, ain't nothing you can do? And I'm not saying you're saying that. So please don't take it as that. I'm not saying you're saying that at all. But if we work together as a community, and that's why I said teach these young people from our mistakes. Hey, at 18, I didn't have a life insurance policy. Hey, 18, I didn't know nothing about stocks. Here's the things. If you just put $50 away for what I got to save at 41 versus what any of these youngest got to save at 50, the vast difference when I'm 60 versus when they're at my age. So I think that's the thing about it. We have to start teaching them the error of our ways.
Anaya.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to fathers who are considering purchasing life insurance as a way to protect and provide for their children in the future?
The advice I would give is have your children present when you sit down with someone in financial services. So when I got into this business, I had been far removed from the educational process, and I had to go through a testing process. And I'll be transparent, I did not do well when I took the test twice and was this close, very, very close to passing, and I wasn't able to do it. But when I had to humble myself and ask my kids for help. I said, boys, I've been out of school too long. I need help with these flashcards. I need help learning the process. And what did my heart well is this was probably just a couple months ago, and I've been in the industry going on 3 years now. But just the end of last year, my son was watching a TV show, and one of the main characters passed away. And the first thing he said, you know how much money their family gonna get from that life insurance policy they probably got? 'Cause they had a lot of money. So if he had life insurance, he was probably gonna get this, this, and this. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. So even as a father, we might and we've talked about it, right? Like we don't have the educational piece that comes with having life insurance. So just bring your children in a room, make them aware of what's going on. If you're making them the beneficiary, explain that to them why. What's going to happen in the next steps, what you're getting it for. Have them sit down with professionals like Kenneth and I, so they can ask questions. So just that open and honest communication, making sure they're present in what the process is going on, is just making them aware so they can be the smartest people in the room.
Got it. And you know what? I think I neglected to do this, but the topic that we're discussing today, we have our gentleman from New York Life, commitment to community, corporate to social responsibility. That's the topic today. And Miss Keela, it's on you.
Can you guys provide insights of different types of life insurances and policies available, and how fathers can choose the most suitable option for their family's needs?
Yeah, there's term policies, and then typically you'll hear about term or whole life, which are cash value life insurance policies.
Okay, break that down. Term meaning?
Term is just a term. So after 10, 15, 20 years, some companies even offer 30 years. After that time frame is gone, I won't say you won't no longer have life insurance policies, but the premium, which means the monthly payment, is going to shoot up a lot more than what it was. So you're going to lock in a rate premium, let's say of $50, right? For 10, 15, 20 years. At year 11, year 16, or year 21, that's not going to cost $50. You're now older. And so it can go anywhere from 5, 6, 10x, I would just say, to keep it simple. And so
you said 10 times?
10x, yeah. It's going to, it's because it's temporary, right? That's what term is.
Okay.
And then a whole life policy is just that. It protects you,
for the duration of
your life, which is why you typically hear people say it's expensive, right? Because I'm protecting you for your whole life, and there's two things that's certain in life: death and taxes. And
Mhm.
so at the end of the day, it just comes down to what are your goals. There is no one size fits all, right? Everybody literally has different mindsets, different investing opportunities. Some own businesses, some are self-employed. So it really just comes down to what Jason said, and they have a conversation. And so depending on what your goals are and what you're trying to do, those are the policies you should get, right?
Mm.
Because all you're doing is you're looking at or insurance as general as a peace of mind. Is if something happens, I'm okay. And the one thing I always tell people is majority of people have insurance on their cars, they have it on their phone, and a lot of times they have it on their home, but they don't have it on the most important assets, which is themselves. So if you take away yourself and the ability to make an income, you're not paying any of those things. And so I think a lot of times people think this is expensive, and it does depend on your health, what age you started it, and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's just what is the best situation for you. I could not just tell you guys in here, oh, you should do this, you should do that, without knowing what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. And to Jason's point, what is the reason for you getting it?
Mhm.
And then there's other, I could say, investment opportunities out there. That's why we said, or going back to our question earlier, being a full financial practice, because there are other things out there too that, like I said, these other communities are educated on. It's just up to us to do our due diligence, I would say, to educate ourselves on what are those things out there.
Yeah, there's so many life insurance products that we can sit here and talk about probably for a couple podcasts. But yeah, you know, Ken did a great job of breaking down the main two.
Mhm.
When I sit down with a client, the easiest way I can explain it, this term is like renting. You rent an apartment, renting a home. It's temporary coverage.
Mhm.
And then whole life is exactly what Ken said.
Mortgage.
It's like a mortgage. It's for
There
the
you go.
duration of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's your forever home.
Mhm.
But just to that as well, it's like if you use your home as an investment or asset, you can do the same thing with life insurance. So you can have multiple policies. You can start off with a term and you can convert that over to a whole life. You can, you know, start off with a whole life policy and pay a minimal amount. And then when you accumulate more wealth and you're like, hey, I want to dump more into it, you can do that. You can get a second policy. So there's so many different things that you can do when it comes to the multiple policies that we offer with New York Life, or anyone that works for a financial institution can offer as well.
And I want to just ask you guys, have you guys ever benefited from a life insurance policy? Have you had that yet?
Through my own, I was able to take out a loan on my life insurance to be able to pay for a medical procedure. But I've never benefited from someone else's life insurance policy.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either.
No. Melissa? No.
I also had like a part 2 to your question. So you said that your kids are 13 and 15, I believe. So when you said you should bring them to the room, right? It's very important. What age do you think that's appropriate to do? Or when did you expose them to that?
I exposed them to this probably about 3 years ago.
So when you started?
Yeah, when I started.
9.
Yeah. But as early as possible, honestly. As soon as you feel like your children can understand the concepts, just little things, just budgeting, just little stuff, just so they understand when you go to the grocery store, you need to make a list. You know, you make a list so you know I have $200 to spend at the grocery store. I can't go over this amount. Just little things. If your kids are going to the grocery store, you're picking out items and you're showing how much things cost. Just that relationship with money, with debt, with credit cards, all those different things. Those are something that you know, we encourage people to be able to talk about at an early age.
Are you guys talking about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got one timid yes. Are you talking about that? Budgeting and debt and understanding credit and all of that, how that impacts your ability to do things later?
Am I going to talk about it?
No, are you talking about it currently?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Now. Yeah.
Now? What?
No, not like now, but like recently. Like ever since I like moved out really is when
Okay.
I moved out at 23. So that's really when I started to like, oh, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Like
When you start
this is
paying the
real.
bills.
Yeah, this is real. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
So that's when I feel like I started really like pushing that out, especially to youth because I'm a mentor. So That's
Yeah.
important to talk about.
Melissa, you talking about credit and debt and budgeting and all that good stuff yet?
Yeah, my mom is actually also a life insurance agent. So I've been kind of exposed to that a little bit since I was like 9 or 10. And also applying to colleges, having to realize I don't want to go into debt. So having to make different decisions for where I'm going to go, FAFSA, taking out all of those things. Definitely exposed to that and having to talk about that.
Adrian, are you talking about credit and debt and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think I first learned about it in high school.
Okay.
And then I think I got my first credit card when I graduated. So
let's go.
Okay. Are you an authorized user or it's in your name?
It's in my name.
Okay. Anaya, what do you think?
I have, just because my parents, mainly my mom, and I'm an authorized user on 2 credit cards, and she has my credit score really high, so I'm very grateful for that. So yeah,
Shout out to mom.
shout out. She talks to me about thank you. She talks to me about that a lot, and she really keeps me in check with my spending. And
So you have a budget? I didn't hear that.
she's trying to. We're working on that.
Okay. All right. Quinessa, I know you're a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't start putting a lot of attention on money until I moved out here because
And you moved from?
Minnesota.
Okay.
Because there's a drastic change in spending out here, and it was also the first time I had started to create debt in order to be out here. So that was when I started to have to figure out how to budget.
And I think that it's different now because when I was coming up, we had to budget, right? There were a lot more responsibilities placed on us to help, at least for us, to help around the house a lot more. And so when I moved out, I had already had a foundation of how to budget and stuff. And when I asked you guys, had you guys benefited from life insurance? My husband and I benefited when his father passed away. That's how we bought our house here in Elk Grove.
Let's go.
So I don't know if I had thought about it much before then. And now he wants to talk to me about my mom. And I'm like, we're not having that conversation. We're not talking about that right now because that's uncomfortable. I want her living, right?
Hey, so the best things are birthed out of uncomfortable conversations.
No, that's a man response. I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. I don't know when I'm going to be ready, but I'm not ready for that. But I do know that my mom has insurance. She's already taking care of her burial insurance. She's taking care of certain things that she wouldn't have got if she was talking to me because we're not doing that. But I understand the importance of it. But I would love to have you all for us to partner because we have a young adult support network here, and they told me they want to learn about budgeting and they want to learn about certain things. So putting you in front of them to give them the information, or maybe we can look at it as a camp this summer.
I had so many ideas going through my head. I'm like, okay, we need to make sure we give them,
especially since y'all with the African American something unit that you said.
AAMU.
Let's go.
Yeah. Because we BYLP, so that means alphabetically we connected.
Look at God. Look at God.
Come on, we got to be intentional on how we move around these parts. So I would love for us to figure out how we can create something where we start with the younger ones. It doesn't always have to be our young adults. We got high schoolers, we got kids in middle school who I know could benefit from having some conversations, and then maybe we could figure out how we can partner with some of these banks and they could open up some accounts for these young people.
Yeah, so that's actually something we're working on as well.
Okay.
Seminars for
Talk
the youth.
To us.
There's actually some legislature that's being up for the state of California as far as teaching budgeting and finances in the state of California to youth in high school.
Do y'all push into classrooms?
Yes.
Do y'all have the ability to do that?
So
I got a classroom for you to go into.
We can partner with classrooms for sure.
Okay. We're going to send them over to Telly.
Oh, yes.
Thomas Edison Language Institute. Yeah, we're going to send y'all over there because they're always looking for people to come in and to talk to them about money. So I think this would, okay. Let's chit chat off the Who's next? Did I start with you?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna come back to you, and we got about 10 minutes. So,
What are some common misconceptions or myths about life insurance?
It's expensive. Don't
I
need
mean,
it.
but you just told us it was expensive
Mhm.
depending on the type. So, go ahead.
No, not expensive, and expensive is relative. But that's why I said, like,
Yeah.
you might want to start, to Jason's point, you might want to start with a term and start there and then work your way up. Right.
Mhm.
So it can be, if you're coming
Can I
out
ask
the
a
gate.
question about
Yeah.
the term?
Mhm.
So, if I pay for a term 15 years and I outlive that, in order to keep it, I have to go up to the premium has to go up, or do I get any benefit from having it for the 15 years and making all those payments?
It will go up, but the thing you want to think about and the conversation is, what are you trying to accomplish in that 15 years? A lot of time there's this statement out there, buy term and invest the rest. And so if you've bought a term policy
Mhm.
and invested the rest of your money, if you did what you need to do in 15 years, not that life insurance policy is obsolete, but you've now gained that money. You have another bucket. You diversified your portfolio to be able to be okay. So a lot of times in our
Okay,
community,
break that down. Sorry, you lost me somewhere.
so a lot of time in our community, the issue comes because we bought a term policy, and in that 15 years, we did nothing to gain more wealth during that time. We
How
didn't
do you
save.
gain more wealth during that
That's what I
time?
said, by saving, by investing, whether it's stocks, bonds, buying a home.
Oh, you
Wait.
mean in addition to the term?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
like,
for the
what am
clarification.
I about to take some money
Yes.
out of that I done
Yeah.
already put in this
Yes.
term? Like what I'm
Yes.
doing?
So thank you for the clarification.
Yes,
So
sir.
in that time frame,
Okay.
right, you did not, you just spent, like you said, we were consumers.
Yes.
So now when it comes 15 years later, we catch something happens, illness, whatever it is, we don't have the money now to take care of it because we didn't do nothing with that money. So a lot of myths, once again, is that life insurance isn't needed, that it costs too much,
Mhm.
that I'll be okay without it, that it's for other communities. And to your major point, we just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I would say one of the major myths is that we won't talk about it. And that's one
Yeah.
thing we have to have the conversation.
But is it a myth or is it the truth?
It's a truth that we won't talk
Okay.
about it, but
All
it's
right.
that's a fact. It's a truth that we won't talk about it,
Yeah.
but it's a myth that we shouldn't, I would say then.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Let my counterpart.
Well, we're going to let him hold it because we got about 9 minutes. We're going to go into round robin. So if you guys have one question, and when you're ready, you could just look at me and tell me you ready. You ready? You looking at me and I don't know if you're ready. You ready?
I am not ready.
Okay. So while they're getting ready, Melissa's ready.
How can fathers ensure that their life insurance policy aligns with their specific goals and values? Because you guys have talked about goals that you need to have, but how can you make sure that it aligns with those?
So the best thing to do is sit down with your life insurance agent or financial professional every 6 months to a year.
So that means you're going to be visiting this office every 6 months to a year?
I'll visit here every 6 days.
Come on now,
y'all
don't
right
play
across
with
the
me.
parking
Wait
lot
a
now,
minute.
huh?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's really good to sit down because
Yeah.
things change. You know, you as a father, your kids get older, their goals change, your goals change. You might purchase a home, something changes. As far as the family dynamic goes, so it's always good to reassess your goals every 6 months, and make sure they still line up with what the planning that you're doing.
Okay. And we're going to go pretty quickly because we want to get everybody in. So, Miss Lady.
Okay, can you provide some insights on the different types of life insurance policies available and how fathers can choose?
Hey, they already answered that. Asked and
so
answered.
sorry.
Asked and answered.
Okay, so then, well, the last question is any
Well,
final...
make one up, girl. They right
Okay,
here.
Sorry. How did y'all get involved in your
Great
work?
question, Anaya.
Thank you so much.
You want to take that one, Ken?
Well, for me, like I said, I was previously military. Graduated from Sac State in 2016. Fingers up. Fingers up.
Yes. God.
Out of that, I've been in the finance, I would say, industry for over maybe 9 years now. So I was previously a mortgage loan officer.
Okay.
And then when the pandemic happened, started helping out my family, I would say, business at a restaurant. And so I thought I was going to be able to do both. But long story short, that kind of, when the pandemic, I looked up 2 years later. And so I was like, oh, man, like, what am I doing? And so I was going to go back into real estate because I always liked that field of it.
Mm-hmm.
But our managing partner, like you say, is Jonelle Ellison. Just divine intervention, and I could really call it God, because he called me at the right day when I was just fed up. and we had a conversation. He's like, let's go to coffee. And out of respect for him, I was like, I'll go to coffee, but I didn't think nothing of it. And when I sat down, I was like, you know what? And I had known him previously too. And so see his growth and see his success, I was like, you know what? And so honestly, I prayed on it, passed the test. And as Jason said, I burned the boat and was like, all right, God, if this is you, you open up that door, and he did. And so for me, I truly feel it's something I'm called to do. It's more than just a career to me. It's really something I'm passionate about.
I love that. Miss Quinessa?
How would you what advice would you give for someone who's looking for life insurance? Like how to choose the right company? I've got friends that are involved in a life insurance company, and I'm pretty sure it's an MLM. And it makes me nervous.
You better break that down. MLM?
Multi-level marketing scheme.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is making sure that you have a good relationship with the person you're sitting across from. And that's why we do a lot of things in the community. That's why we're here, is to build our brand and to show our credibility in the community. Of course, we can say that New York Life is the best company to, hit your wagon to, which I'm a firm believer.
They got a lot of black people next door.
And I didn't get a chance to answer the last question, but that's literally why I'm here in New York Life, because I was with another financial institution. And when I came to visit here, I was like, oh, this is some diversity up in here. Some other people that look like me up in here. So,
and that matters, right?
That 100% matters for me and my goals for the future. But yeah, you can do your research. When we sit down with a client, we go over something that's called financial strength and ratings. And I show a client what the financial strength and ratings are for multiple companies that are within the United States. And this is all stuff you can Google, you can look up yourselves, and you can see who's at the top, whose rating has failed for whatever reason. And this is public knowledge. New York Life is at the top. So,
he said, I want to be part of number one.
Yeah. My grandmother said, you get what you pay for sometimes. So, even, Kenneth did mention that, and it's relative as far as how expensive life insurance can be. But it's also very important who you have your life insurance through, because they have to deliver on those promises. And for a company to be able to deliver on those promises, that's very, very important. So we've been in the business of, delivering on our promises for 169, 170 years, which is 3 lifetimes over, longer than we've been able to, even as Black folks, be able to get life insurance. So I'll leave it at that.
Keela, what's the craziest excuse somebody's gave you guys to not have?
Can't afford it. Sorry, I cut you off. Can't afford it. Like can't afford it. And to be completely honest, you can't afford not to have it. Now, do I understand that timing and all that plays a part into it? But the biggest thing is when I'm looking at the car you drive, the clothes you wear, the consumerism of it, and you're saying you can't afford a $30, $40 policy. That blows my mind, because a simple budget, would show where you're putting your money
and your priorities.
That's it, right? And you can cut something out of that to say it's so inexpensive. And unfortunately, to what we're talking about, you do have to lose your life in some instances. If you have a life insurance policy that's cash value, you want to lose your life. You can use it here. But at the same time, you're talking to, minimum $30, $40, $50 payment, whatever, times if something does happen to you, then you're giving that to your family. But take aside that, you're still here living, you're educated, you're once again investing in stocks, bonds, buying homes. You've now 10 extra money and gave yourself and your family a head start to generational wealth. But the crazy excuses, can't afford it.
We're just getting ghosted. I've sat down with clients and we've had a really great conversation, and they're like, yes, I want to do this. Call me on this date and we'll do something. I just got to get my budget together. I'm like, yeah, no problem. We give you the zero-based budget so you can figure out where you're at. And then, I go to follow up with you, and it's crickets.
Blocked.
Pretty much.
Yeah, not answering, all that. So
wow.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, you know what? We have run out of time. We want to thank you guys for spending some time with us and giving us a head start on the conversation, because we will be following up, offline to see what we can do in partnership for the community and what we can offer for everybody else listening. So I got a minute. Okay. We are having our celebration weekend, June 21st through the 23rd. If you have not grabbed your tickets, Yeah, I'm looking at y'all. Go ahead and cop those off the website. We are looking to celebrate our class of 2024 as a community. That means your babies can come, your wife, your significant other, your cousins, because I heard about them in Stockton. You can bring them too. We want to put on for our babies and our older folks too. Class of 2024. We got some doctorate students in there. We have some undergrads, some high school graduates, and all of our promoters. So if you have not gotten your tickets, please go ahead and do so. Tevin, when do those tickets stop being available? Is it the 17th? The 17th. So you have till June 17th to cop your tickets. With that, what you saying, Melissa?
They got 1 week. It's June 10th. They have 7 days.
So say you got a week. So make sure you handle that. I want to send a quick shout out to all 4 of my bonus kids who graduated from the Justice Next cohort yesterday. Shout out to y'all. They earned them a little bit of cash, some stipends, life insurance. Y'all be thinking about where you put that money that y'all earn. They got to collect some ducats.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we are super proud of them. Super proud of Melissa, who graduated last week, and I was able to attend in person. Ooh. Shout out to the kids in Compton Unified who graduated last week. I was able to attend in person. I love it. And we're going to just keep going. We're just going to keep going. So we will hit you with the peace sign. We will see y'all next week for our last
We will
show.
see you tomorrow with a special episode of Assembly Member Brian.
Oh, Assembly Member Brian's sliding through tomorrow.
Yes.
I almost forgot. Thank you for that. Thank you for cutting me off. I appreciate that. And then next Monday will be our last show of the season, which is also the 17th, which is the last day to grab tickets. So
stop playing.
Right? So we're going to hit you with the peace sign, and we're really out of here for real. See y'all tomorrow.